صلى على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Again, for the well-being of the community, another salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
And following for the hastened reappearance of Imam Zaman, another louder salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Al-Fatiha. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم به نستعين. الحمد لله الذي جعل الحمد مفتاحا لذكره وسببا للمزيد من فضله ودليلا على آلائه وعظمته. ثم الصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين أرواحنا له فداء. أما بعد، فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنهم يكيدون كيدا وأكيد كيدا فمهل الكافرين أمهلهم رويدا. صدق الله العلي العظيم.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
First and foremost, I give my condolences to all of you on the occasion which we are coming to mourn, and that is the Shahadat of Fatima Zahra Sallallahu Alayha. As we mentioned last night, that it's important for us to benefit from the life of the Ma'asumeen, the life of the Prophet, the life of Fatima Zahra, the life of the Amir al-Mu'mineen, and all of our Imam alayhi salatu wasalam. And as we come to mourn this occasion, one of the things that we can benefit from the life of Fatima Zahra sallallahu alayha is how to live in a situation, or you can say an antagonistic situation, an environment where, again, not all of the cards are stacked in your favor. Because this is the reality of, or part of the reality of Fatima Zahra sallallahu alayha, that led to her martyrdom, her rights being usurped, her status being overlooked, and again, even disrespect to her house, the threat that was put there towards her house, and again, it came to reality that this would be a house that would be burnt up, that will be burnt, that will be set on fire. Why? Because it was the house of resistance. I mean, we look at the history, and this is not history that is written by those who are the lovers of Ahlul Bayt. They said Baytul Fatima. This is where the issue came from. And it's interesting the way it is written, not Baytu Ali, it was Baytu Fatima, because Fatima Zahra sallallahu alayha, she was, again, that figure of resistance against the oppression that was happening after the shahadat, or the passing of her father Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Whereas Amir al-Mu'mineen, he was given the order by Rasulullah that, yes, your rights will be reserved. But, Ya Ali, don't go out and oppose them. And this is why Imam Ali, again, he did not, at least at that time, verbally and really strongly go against them. But Fatima Zahra, she didn't have that order. Fatima Zahra, salamullah alayha, when we look at her life, that after the rise of Rasulullah, after the passing of Rasulullah, she went to each and every house in Medina, reminding them of the final Hajj of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Saying, do you not remember that Hajj that you went on with my father? And if you weren't there, then ask those who went on the Hajj with my father. Ask them about what he said. Man kuntu mawlahu fahada aliyun mawla. So Fatima Zahra, salamullah alayha, she was the one who was reminding everybody of their responsibility, of their duty. Reminding them of the message of Rasulullah. Reminding them that after Rasulullah, the person who had the walayat, who had authority, was Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam. But even so, again, Fatima, she lived in that atmosphere where there were individuals against her. Something that the Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he knew that would happen. He's the one who told Fatima to Zahra while he was on his deathbed that you will be the first to come. You will be the first to come after me. So the Prophet knew. And the Prophet, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, again, he prepared. He prepared Fatima, he prepared Amir al-Mu'mineen, he prepared them for what was to come afterwards. A part of that preparation, as we mentioned, was the dua that was taught to Fatima to Zahra, one to repel kaid, deception, or plotting, that when someone is trying to plot against you, someone is trying to deceive you. And as we mentioned, that kaid, deception, or plotting against you has three aspects. One aspect is that person or that group of people, again, they plan against another person or group of people. That plan then is turned into action. It's not simply left as a plan. No, it turns into action. They actually act upon that plan. And third, that plan or that kaid is meant to harm the other individual. And as we mentioned that in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he talks about different groups of people who engage in such deception, who engage in such plotting. One is shaitan, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala he states. The other is al-kafirun, those who disbelieve, those who reject the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have a number of examples of kaid and deception and plotting that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala he places before us in Surah Yusuf. One about the jealousy of his brothers. Out of jealousy, they are plotting and planning against him. This is why Yusuf's father, Yaqub, he says, don't tell them what your dream was. Then the plot and the deception that Yusuf faced when he was there in Egypt, the women who were plotting against him. And then, of course, the plot, again, of his brothers again. There's also one of the individuals who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala he speaks about, we didn't mention that yesterday, but I'll just add this in, was Fir'aun. This is also another story of, again, deception. A person, a ruler, who was trying to deceive his people to have authority over them, to keep that authority over them. Tyrants are, again, one of those examples that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses in the Quran. And with regards to Fir'aun's kaid, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا كَيْدُ فِرْعَوْنَ فِي تَبَابٍ. But إِلَّا فِي تَبَابٍ. So the kaid or the deception of Fir'aun, it would just end in ruins. We ended yesterday also saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he uses this term with regards to himself as well. He says, يَكِيدُونَ كَيْدًا وَأَكِيدُ كَيْدًا. And I also plan. But what is that plan, and how does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He plan? He also says, again in several places, another place where He says, وَأُمْلِي لَهُمْ إِنَّ كَيْدِي مَتِينٌ. That I give them respite. Give those, again, the tyrants, the disbelievers, those who are traitors. He says, He gives them respite. And He says, إِنَّ كَيْدِي مَتِينٌ. The plotting, if we translate it literally, the plot of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the plan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is more strong. So what is that plan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And what is the role of the believer within that plan, within Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's plan? When we look at and we examine the verses of the Quran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He states that He is one who also engages in this action of kaid. One of the things that we understand from this, first and foremost, that planning, a tadbir, managing the affairs is something that's solely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No one has the ability, again, to clearly map out the plan for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation except for Him. So in one sense, that is what this kaid, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He attributes Himself with it, or He associates with Himself, is that yes, that the plan of creation is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That nothing happens unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants it to happen. Yes, there are certain things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put into motion in nature. Let's say, like fire, for example. But that same fire that burns and destroys, with regards to His prophet Ibrahim, when he was being thrown into that fire, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, no, this fire would not burn him. This fire would not destroy him. So that is an example of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's, again, His ability, His control over everything, if He wants it to be. Another meaning of that, or with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says that He engages in this kaid, means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and especially as He engages in that kaid, because He always uses it in connection with those tyrants, with the individuals who are, again, intending harm, that He says no, that they will do what they want to do. They will plot, they will plan, they will try to deceive. وَإِنَّ كَيْدِي مَتِينٌ. But my plan is much stronger than yours. So one meaning of that is that He is turning their deception and their plots against them. In one of the places we see this very clearly, and that is in the story of Musa and Fir'aun, where in one place where Fir'aun, he possibly says, well, in order to maintain our control and maintain our power over the people, to keep them enslaved, to keep them, again, standing up for their rights. So what did he decide? He told his minions, he says, what we'll do is we'll kill their sons, and we'll leave the women alive. And it had been happening at one point, but when the prophet Musa, when he came, he says, listen, Fir'aun, stand down, establish justice in the land, or you send Bani Israel with me, you send the people with me. In order to escape from that, Fir'aun, he gave the order, we'll kill the men, we'll kill the babies. And what happened is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He turned that plot against them. Where in all of those individuals who are part of Ali Fir'aun, being those people who were following Fir'aun, again, their sons were dying. They got ill, they fell ill, and they were dying. And this is an example where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He turns that plot against them. Also with regards to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's, and this is part of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's sunnah, so we understand exactly what does it mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He plans against those individuals, or He has a plan against them. that plan is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says that He gives respite. He says, only the home. That we let them stand for some time. They may create chaos. They may, again, deceive people. They may plot against people. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gives them respite. And one of the verses in Surah Ali Imran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَلَا يَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَنَّمَا نُمْلِي لَهُمْ خَيْرٌ لِأَنفُسِهِمْ إِنَّمَا نُمْلِي لَهُمْ لِيَزْدَادُوا إِثْمًا وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ عَظِيمٌ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says that those individuals who disbelieve, they should not think or consider that if they have done injustice, that immediately they will be punished. No, we will give them respite. We give them respite. And this is the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because on one hand, He's giving them a moment that, well, perhaps they will make tawbah. Perhaps they will, again, change their position. Perhaps they will come to their senses. Again, one example that we have of this, and every year we speak about this. Hur. Again, initially Hur, he didn't know, he, again, was working for the Yazidi government. Stopped Imam Hussein alayhi, held him there in Karbala. So he wouldn't go back to Medina, nor would he enter Kufa. And then when Hur, he understood that, oh, well, no, the intentions is not simply to speak with Imam Hussein, not simply to hold him here, but the intention is to murder Imam Hussein. And so yes, his actions were against Imam Hussein in the beginning. But then he turned. He had time to reflect and to really understand the magnitude of his actions. And then he changed. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the same time, again, part of His sunnah is to give respite to those individuals. That perhaps they will begin to think clearly. One of the beings that acts for that respite as well was Shaitan. Shaitan says, oh, well, you know, don't hold this against me that I didn't bow to Adam. He says, no, give me respite. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sit in the path, that path towards you, Allah, and I will misguide each and every one of your creation. Except for those individuals who are mukhlisin. Except for those. So why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them respite? Part of that sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that perhaps they will come to their senses. Perhaps they will, again, be reasonable. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's done this with the nations of multiple nations of the prophets. If you'll see, the prophet will come, they would deliver their message, and then what will happen? And some of them, they will reject. If many of, or may say all of them will reject the prophets, and then some of them even said, oh, well, if you're saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will punish us for this, then call upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to punish us. Call upon Allah to punish us. Let us see that if this is really true. And at that point, then, at times the prophet, he would tell, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will reveal to the prophet, He says, leave this nation, we're going to destroy them. Sodom and Gomorrah is one example. Prophet Lut, but leave, we will destroy them. Prophet Saleh, no, leave, we will destroy them. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even after they committed their atrocities, their deceptions, their plots against the believers, their plots against the prophets, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them time that perhaps they will change. And if they did not change, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, Numli lahum. He says that we give them that respite, إِنَّمَا نُمْلِي لَهُمْ لِيَزْدَادُوا إِثْمًا. That respite would do nothing for them but increase them in their sins. Increase them in their deviation, if they do not change. So on one hand, this shows the justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that on Yawm al-Qiyamah, they have no excuse. No, You weren't destroyed immediately after your deception, after your crime, after your... No. We gave you time to think about it. We gave you time to repent. We gave you time to change, but because you didn't, now what will happen, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has done with other nations, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He destroyed those nations, like the nation of Lut. So here is another aspect that we have to understand. And what is the role of the believers in that plan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So as we said, Cade, it has three aspects. One is that it requires a planning. Two, it requires action. The third aspect, and this is particularly with regards to those individuals that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He spoke about other than Himself, that it will inflict harm upon others. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's planning does not inflict harm. It does not end in dhar. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's planning, because He's planning for His creation, that which He created Himself, the end of it is what? A khair. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what He wants to see is justice to prevail in this world. He wants to see the best for His creation. And this comes out in one of the du'as as well, that the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he taught to Ali and Fatima, alayhim salatu wasalam. Jabir ibn Abdullah Ansari, one of the most credible companions of Rasulullah. One of those companions that when you look at all of the Muslims, no matter what their, you could say their madhab is, what their path is, again, Jabir ibn Abdullah Ansari is one of the most renowned and most recognized and one of the most accepted companions of Rasulullah. He said that he was with the Prophet of Allah and he called Fatima and Ali, to teach them this dua. Again, in order to, he told them, he says that, look, if there's anything that you feel that someone is plotting against you, you feel that, again, you are in danger, those people who may have authority, he says, recite this dua. I'm not going to recite the whole dua, just part of it, just to show you that, again, what that goal and objective is of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That if He is the one who is planning as well, you got those who are against Allah who are planning, and those, and Allah Himself who is planning. So in this dua, part of it says, Ya ka'ida fir'auna li Musa. Ka'id means that person who is planning against or managing that relationship of Fir'aun li Musa, for the sake of Musa. Ya ka'ida fir'auna li Musa. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He stated that Fir'aun, he's planning. Again, if we read the story, we know what happened. Fir'aun, he was a person that even if someone tried to believe, the magicians, when they wanted to believe and they accepted the message of Musa and Harun, they prostrated. They said, yes, well, Musa, this is not magic that he's doing. This is divine. They said, La ilaha illallah. And what did Fir'aun say? He says, what is this? You're testifying to belief before I give you the permission to believe? How dare you believe and I didn't give you permission to believe? That was the position of Fir'aun. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, throughout this whole engagement between Fir'aun and Musa, as this dua says, Ya ka'ila Fir'auna li Musa. Because we saw the end of Fir'aun. How he ended. We saw what happened to him. That again, he was not victorious over Musa, but Prophet Musa, he was victorious over Fir'aun. And that is because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because of His plan. And that is because, again, the Prophet Musa and those who believed, those who followed the Prophet Musa, again, being a part of that plan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the goodness of humanity, for the goodness of this world, for justice, that justice may prevail. And this is something that also is clear in this dua, where it states, at one point it says, Ya fa'ila kulli khair, the one who does, and you're calling upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He is the one who does goodness, that He is, again, the one who enacts goodness. Ya hadiyan ila kulli khair, the one who guides, again, His creation to the best of things, to goodness, to righteousness. Ya dalan ala kulli khair, the one who, again, who guides, who indicates, who makes the path towards goodness and righteousness clear. Ya amiran li kulli khair, the one who commands for righteousness. Ya khaliq al khair, the one who creates goodness, the one who creates righteousness. Ya ahl al khair, the one who is, again, the owner, the one who possesses goodness. So again, here we see the distinction between kaydul kafirin, the plot and planning of those who disbelieves, the plot and planning of those who are like Fir'aun, the plot and planning of al-kha'ilin, those who are traitors, who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about, that they are trying to, again, to deceive and to plot against people to their end and to their destruction, to, again, to disenfranchise them. Whereas Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no. His planning, and the believers who follow that plan, again, their objective is to bring about the best in this world, to bring about justice, to bring about righteousness. But in order to do this, and this is where the role of the believer comes in. Again, the believer must have understanding or knowledge, first of all, of three things. One, knowledge of where does that conflict lie? Again, where is the conflict in that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has set out a path for His creation. And that path should end with khayr, goodness, righteousness, with justice. But those who are plotting on the other side, their path ends with what? Again, their own well-being, but the destruction of others. It ends, again, not with justice prevailing for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation, for humanity in its entirety, but no, only for them, their small group. For someone like Fir'aun, that, well, as long as I have control and I maintain power, even if I have to kill these people, even if I have to give them permission to believe or not believe, then that's where their plan ends. So one has to know and understand where does that conflict lie, number one. Number two, one has to understand the techniques or the aspects of those plans. And this is very important. This is something that, again, if we truly study the lives, and unfortunately, sometimes we really don't pay much attention to the lives of Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdalus salatu wassalam. But each and every one of the ma'asumeen, from the Prophet to Fatima to Zahra, to Imam Hassan, to Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, to Imam Hassan, to Imam Hussein, each and every one of the Imams, again, they were very aware of their situation. And because of that, again, they did the best thing in their time. So why didn't Imam Hassan alayhi rise up? How come he didn't rise up against Muhammad? Imam Hussein did. Why did Imam Sajjad alayhi that why did he, again, after returning from Karbala and Sham, he's in Medina, again, how come, at least apparently, I'm saying apparently because this is what most people think, apparently, he sat, he made dua, and he cried most of the time. And that's what we think because we haven't studied exactly what was the position of Imam Sajjad. One aspect of it, I'll just mention it here so at least we know. So we need to understand that, look, how do we benefit from the lives of Ahlul Bayt? When Imam Sajjad, he returned back to Medina after the atrocities of Karbala and Sham, he said there was not even 20 people in Medina that knew the right, the haqq of Ahlul Bayt. He says you couldn't even count 20 people who knew, again, what was the position of Ahlul Bayt. Although Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has stated in the Quran that there is no ajr, there is no reward for this message, إِلَّا مُوَدَّةً فِي الْقُرْبَى. People didn't know the rights of Ahlul Bayt. So if we examine the du'as of Imam Zainul Abidin, inshallah, go and read the du'as. Yeah, on one hand, they're there for us to read and to connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam Zainul Abidin, one of the greatest educators, is in the du'as of Imam Zainul Abidin. You were seated. This is why the Imam, in the beginning of the du'as, he starts with salawat. In the end of the du'as, he starts salawat. In the middle, here and there, there's salawat, there's salawat. Why? And everyone knew that if Imam Zainul Abidin, if he made dua, that dua was mustajab. This is one thing that the people of Medina, they knew. That, oh yes, if he recites a dua, it was even to the point that people who didn't follow Imam Zainul Abidin, they will come to Imam Zainul Abidin, oh, I have this problem, make dua for me. Or give me a dua to recite. Okay, he would give them a dua. What would that dua begin? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. What would it end with? Allahumma salli. What was in the middle multiple times? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. People would think, why is there so many salawat and salutations for Muhammad wa ali Muhammad? Imam Zainul Abidin was educating people. He wasn't sitting there just mazloom. Yes, there's an aspect of oppression that all the Ahlul Bayt face, but he wasn't sitting there helpless. But he was implementing the best strategy for his time period. And this is what the Ahlul Bayt they teach us. But we have to understand, where does the conflict lie? What is the methodology, one, of Ahlul Bayt? What are the techniques that those who are the enemies of Ahlul Bayt, the enemies of Allah, what techniques are they using? Because if you don't know what they're doing, there's no way that you can counter what they're doing. And then, the third thing you must understand and have knowledge of is that, yes, you have the ability to do that. To strategically plan for a better outcome of your situation. To strategically plan, as all of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim have done. And part of that is in the du'as. Those du'as, again, keeps that person with hope. But yes, we can have this, but the dua alone is not sufficient. One has to have action. And that's what we see in Fatima Zahra sallallahu alayha. Again, another salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So one reason, usually we have dinner after our speeches. Because when you have dinner before, people get really tired. And sometimes I like to put the thought there because, again, we need to really understand the method of Ahlul Bayt. Again, sometimes, we can give them praise, we can do this, but if we really don't understand what the Ahlul Bayt alayhim they held for us, it will go past us. And we will still stay in the same state that we are. But once we understand what they have given us, then we are able to implement that in our lives. So again, to remove the tiredness that we have, or the, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So we don't go into food coma. Another salawat ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So I'll kind of taper off, but Fatima Zahra, Sallallahu alayha, this is what she did. When she when she went to the Masjid al-Nabi about the issue of Fadak, again, so we can understand where the conflict actually laid and what she was doing. When she went, first of all, she was given that land before the Prophet even passed away. So it wasn't inheritance, but she was argued, or they argued against her that, oh, well, the Prophet does not leave inheritance. And then it was said that, well, where are your witnesses? First and foremost, in none of the schools of thought, you don't need a witness to establish your inheritance. Perhaps you need a witness to establish your relationship with the person who's found, but not to establish your inheritance. And there was no doubt that Fatima Zahra, sallallahu alayha, that she was the daughter of Rasulullah. So again, you see the deception that was coming. But nonetheless, Fatima Zahra, she called a witness to establish, no, the Prophet of Allah, he gave me this land in his lifetime. A land that she also had in her possession. Fatima Zahra, sallallahu alayha, in that khutbah, she was laying the foundation for a plan with regards to the rights of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salatu wasalam. But where did that conflict lie? Did it lie in that piece of land? This orchard that the Prophet of Allah, he grew dates on? Or was it bigger than that? Most of us, we think, oh, well, yeah, she's arguing for Fadak, it was a piece of land. But no, it was much greater than that. Much greater than just this date farm. It was concerning the fate, or that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he would place in the authority of his Prophet, that which he would place in the authority of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salatu wasalam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he alludes to this in Surah Al-Hashr, verse 6, where he says, وَمَا أَفَاءَ اللَّهُ عَلَى رَسُولِهِ, that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he places in the authority of his Prophet. And he further explains in later in the verse, he says, وَيُسَلِّتُهُ اللَّهُ عَلَى رُسُلِهِ, that which, again, land, that which is, again, anything, and what fate is, anything that returns back into the possession of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Again, everything in this world is created. Everything belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it is only temporarily in our possession and control. And at times that, again, temporary control that we have over things, again, it goes from our hands. Like that piece of land of Fadak. It was part of the land of Bani Nadir, who, again, out of their breaking of their contract with Rasulullah, out of them leaving from Medina and leaving it, they said, no. They didn't want to have anything else to do with it. So that returned back, and fate returned back into the possession of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he gave it to Rasulullah. مَا أَفَاءَ اللَّهُ عَلَى رَسُولِهِ. Something that was not fought over. It was not the spoils of war. It was that which, again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he has absolute authority over, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he placed that in the possession of his Prophet to control. The Prophet of Allah then, as Imam Rida alayhi salatu wasalam, he will state,
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad,
that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to the Prophet, وَآتِي ذِي الْقُرْبَى حَقَّهُ, and give to the close relatives, give them their rights. Imam Rida alayhi salatu wasalam, he says, this was referring to this fate, to this land that the Prophet of Allah, he received, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put into his possession, told the Prophet of Allah that this is Now you need to control this. So as soon as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed that to him, he went to Fatima to Zahra, he called Fatima to Zahra, he says, come, he says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to me that to give the right, to do right to the close ones. So therefore I am giving you fadak. Now again, what is this fadak? Not simply that piece of land, but this idea or concept, as we have, is called al-fay. Al-fay. Again, that thing which is a possession, something that is a part of this world, something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created, and temporarily put it in the hands of His creation, of human beings. But then it is left unattended, unpossessed, and therefore it goes back into the absolute control of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He puts that in control of who? His wali. That individual who is governing on behalf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That thing which, again, when Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam,
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
to show you how, unfortunately, the ummah, they didn't understand what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had laid out in the Quran. Then when Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam, he became the Khalifa. He stated that, listen, I will return every right back to each individual. He says, even the right of Bani Hashim. He says, I would have returned, again, fadak, back to the Ahlul Bayt. I would have separated the house of Jafar. Again, Jafar, I would have separated it from the Masjid of Rasul and returned it back to, again, his heirs. He's saying, I would have done so many things. He says, but if I would have done that, then what people would have come and what they would have stated, they would say, oh, look, he's changing the sunnah. He says, no, this is not the sunnah of Rasulullah. It's not the sunnah, or not what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He has placed in the Quran. He says, I would have done this. He says, but my entire army would have abandoned me, and I would have been alone. I would have been left by myself, or maybe a handful of those individuals who knew the rights of the Ahlul Bayt. So again, he did not return all of these things in its proper place. And interesting enough, very interesting enough, Imam Ali was telling this to his Shia. I say, Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, inshallah, Umar al-Thani, the 8th Khalifa of Bani Umayyah. And some of the historians say that he wanted to return the fadak back to the Ahlul Bayt. He says, no. He says, if he was in a place of the ones who were ruling, he says, this is the daughter of Fatima. She doesn't need any witnesses. This is the daughter of Rasulullah, Fatima to Zahra, someone who never lied against Rasulullah. And so if she said it was hers, then give her back. But again, he was faced with exactly what Amir al-Mu'minin said. He said, oh, what are you doing? You're changing the sunnah, that you're discrediting the judgment of the first Khalifa, you're discrediting these guys. So we see that this did not occur. But in the time of Imam Rida, Ma'mun, the 7th Khalifa of the Abbasids, he says, when Imam Rida alayhi wasallam, he came to Khurasan, he says, I want to return fadak back to the Ahlul Bayt. He says, so tell me, where exactly was fadak? So Imam Rida, again, as I said, that what was overlooked, and many of us, we overlook this concept, where's the conflict? The conflict is not on a square piece of land. It's about this idea of faith, that what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts into possession and puts His rightful guardian, government, that wali puts in their hands. So Imam Rida alayhi wasallam, he says, if you want to return fadak back to the Ahlul Bayt, he says, then fadak stretches from Medina going towards Yemen, and it stretches here to Khurasan. So if you want to give fadak back to Ahlul Bayt, then this is what you have to give to us. Not simply a small plot of land in Medina. The argument was not about that. And Fatima Zahra, which inshallah tomorrow we'll explain more about that she was laying the grounds of that. But Fatima Zahra, salamu alayha,
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
As she represented that resistance to the corruption that had rose up after Rasulullah, she was challenged. And not simply verbally challenged at the masjid. She was challenged in a way that even her mother, Khadija al-Kubra, subhanAllah, the mother of Fatima Zahra, Khadija al-Kubra, on her deathbed, she had given wasiyah to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. She told Rasulullah, says, Ya Rasulullah, she says, I have one request from you. I have one request from you. And this is after she requested the Abba of Rasulullah to be buried in the Abba of Rasulullah. She says, Rasulullah, she says, I remember that when I was pregnant with Fatima, none of the women, none of them came to help me. They were saying that, well, because of her social status and her wealth, that she married someone like Rasulullah. She told the Prophet of Allah, he said, protect her from the women of Medina. Don't let them mistreat her. But subhanAllah, if Khadija al-Kubra was alive, what would she say? That it wasn't the women of Medina who harmed Fatima Zahra. It was the men who came and who set the house of Fatima Zahra on fire. It was the men who kicked in the door of Fatima Zahra that cracked the rib of Fatima Zahra. That led to the Shahadat of Muhsin, her baby in her womb. We see that Fatima Zahra, that as she laid upon her deathbed, she too would also give a wasiyah to Amir al-Mu'mineen. Part of that wasiyah will be about her children as well. Part of that wasiyah that Fatima Zahra, she would give to Amir al-Mu'mineen. She would tell him, Ya Ali, रात को कफन मुझ पर डाल दो. She would tell Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ya Ali, andari raat mein mujh ki dafn karo. She would tell him that, give me kafan, give me my ghusl, bury me at night so no one will see. She would tell him, Ya Ali, adfini fi al-layl idha namat al-uyun wa haja'at al-absar. Oh Ali, bury me in the darkness of night. Give me my kafan in the darkness of night. Why did she want to be buried at night? She didn't want people who had harmed her. She did not want the people who had kicked the door in on her. She did not want them to come to her funeral. She did not want them to be around. She told Amir al-Mu'mineen also, she had told Amir al-Mu'mineen, says that when you give me my ghusl, she says, wash my body under a cloth. That same cloth that Amir al-Mu'mineen, that when he was washing the body of Fatima Zahra, that he discovered something that Fatima Zahra, she had told Fitna beforehand. She says, Fitna, when Fitna found out that the rib of Fatima Zahra was cracked, she says, oh Fitna, don't tell Ali what has happened. Don't let him know that my rib was cracked. Don't let him know that I have lost my baby, that Amir al-Mu'mineen, out of his ghira, out of his love for me, that he will become very upset. Imam Ali, only at the time that he was washing the body of Fatima Zahra, that he realized the rib of Fatima Zahra had been broken. Fatima Zahra, she continued to give Imam Ali her wasiyah. She says, Ya Ali, عليك بالحسن والحسين فإنهما من بعد اليوم يتيما وإنهما فقدا جدهما عن قريب. This is so Ali. But watch after Imam Hassan and Hussein, that protect them, look over them, do not yell at them, because they will be yatim after today. And not long ago, they lost their grandfather. She told Imam Ali, a part of her wasiyah, she says, oh Ali, at this moment, allow me to be alone. Take the children away. I don't want them around to see me when I pass away. It will be too hard for them. So Imam Ali, he took Imam al-Hassan al-Hussein out of the house. Imam Ali himself, he went to the masjid. Asma bint Umays, that she was in the house with Fatima Zahra. Fatima Zahra told Asma, says, Ya Asma, I want to go and I want to rest just a little bit. She says, I will rest, and if you call me after a short time, says, if I answer, then I will wake up, I will make my salah. But if I don't answer, to know that I have returned back to my father. Asma, she stated that she called out to Fatima. She went to read the Quran, and then after some time she called out to Fatima. She called out, Ya Mawlaya Yati Ya Zahra Ya Fama Ajabat. She says, I called out, oh my master, oh Zahra. But she says that there was no response. So then she called out again, Ya Sayyidati, Ya Binti Rasulillah. She called out, O daughter of Rasulullah. Asma said there was no answer. So then she called out a third time, Ya Binti Rasulillah. يا بنت من صلى عليه ملائكة السماء. O daughter of he who the angels, they have made salutations upon him. Asma said that there was no answer. So she went into her room and checked on Fatima Zahra. أجركم الله يا شيعتي فاطمة. قد استشهدت فاطمة زهرا. Fatima Zahra, she is no longer with us. She was no longer with Asma. She had returned back to Allah. Ajarakum Allah. Asma, she said at that moment, Imam al-Hassan Hussein, they came back home. Imam al-Hassan, he asked Asma, Ya Asma, oh Asma, where's our mother? Asma, she said, Ya Bani Rasulillah, Ummakuma na'ima. Says, your mother, she's sleeping. She's in a long sleep. Imam Hassan, he responded, this is not the time in which my mother, she would sleep. So he ran into the room to see Fatima Zahra. He ran into the room and he saw that the cover was over Fatima Zahra. He pulled the cover back and he saw that Fatima Zahra, she was no longer with us. Finally, Imam Hassan, he called out, Ya Akhi, Ya Hussein, Qad mat ummuna. He called out, oh my brother, oh Hussein, our mother is no longer with us. They said Imam Salman, he heard the crying from Imam al-Hassan al-Hussein. He came up and he asked Imam al-Hassan al-Hussein, what is wrong? Why are you crying? Imam al-Hassan, he responded, he says, العجب السلام أن تسقط على النار قد ماتت أمنا فاطمة الزهراء. He says, I am wondering why the heavens have not fallen upon this earth because our mother Fatima the Zahra, she has been martyred, she has returned back to Allah. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he heard the crying of Imam Hassan Hussein. He ran out from the masjid back to the house. He said, Fatima,